one mistake that so many marketers make is that they over obsess on these buyer personas where we think we're going to maximize lifetime value. And we optimize our campaigns thinking that we're doing the right thing, thinking that, oh, well, we're trying to get people who are going to buy frequently, or maybe we sell a subscription and they're going to be with us the longest amount of time. And we solely focus on that group of people and ignore the occasional light buyers that actually make up the majority of the market. And that's the best path to grow to grow your business. And so let me give you an example. A few years ago, before my wedding, about 2.5 months before my wedding, I threw out my back. And I had never had back problems before, and I had never done yoga before. But as I'm lying on the ground in my apartment, wondering if I'm going to be able to stand upright at my own wedding, I get an ad for a yoga for back pain subscription. Right, so Meta had figured out that I'm in back pain, and I get this ad for this like yoga app that says we have like a program specifically for back pain. And I'm desperate, so I sign up, and it was incredible. It totally changed my life in so many ways. I had a very speedy recovery. I got back up on my feet. Wedding was great, awesome. I totally love this app. I recommend it to everyone that I know that has back pain. But I canceled my subscription after 3 months. No longer a customer. Is that bad? Am I a bad customer? Did the marketing team not do their job? Did the app not do its job? No. They would certainly prefer to acquire customers that stuck around forever. Like, that's the dream of any subscription business. They want as many people who are never going to cancel. But if they only looked at their business through that lens, they never would have acquired me as a customer. And there are way more people like me than the opposite, right? Like, think of how many people fit this category of like they have ongoing chronic back pain and they're interested in making like this specific yoga practice an ongoing part of their lifestyle. Like, I'm sure that market exists, but it's a very, very limited market. There are much more people who have a situation like I was in. And you can run a really great business catering to people like me, to your light buyers. And here's the thing that most people miss. So we talk a lot about like focusing your marketing on light buyers, but it doesn't mean that like you should be only running your business for people that are going to cancel your subscription or only buy once, right? The actual implication here is that as you acquire more customers, they sprinkle out across this like customer demand curve. So like the majority of people are considered light buyers, where maybe they only buy once, or maybe they buy a cheaper product, right? Lower average order value, or if you're a subscription, maybe they cancel their subscription, whatever it is. Like, most people find themselves on the left side of this graph. But like, let's say this yoga app acquired 100 customers. Most of those people would be like me, where they stayed for a few months and then they canceled. And then some of those people, though, would like really fall in love with this. Some of those people would become lifers. And so now, as you acquire more customers, like a handful of people fit into this heavy buyer category, and the majority of people on the left-hand side of the graph, and then there's like a healthy smattering in between. And that's a healthy business. And I think this is where a lot of marketers get in trouble. Particularly like online focused brands that spend a lot of money in meta ads and like other performance channels, where we do like very simple modeling exercises to say, what can we afford to pay for a new customer? And so like we think we're geniuses because we say, oh, well, we're using lifetime value to calculate our like our break-even CAC, customer acquisition cost. How much can we afford to pay for a customer? Well, like let's say this app costs $10 a month, and let's say they actually found that, I don't know, their average customer stayed for 8 months. So average LTV is $80. That doesn't really tell you anything helpful, though, about what their actual customers do. Because, yeah, okay, my average LTV is $80, but like very few people are actually paying us only $80, right? Because we have some people on the far right end of this chart that are dragging up this average, that are staying for 3, 4, 5 years. They're lifers now. And then we have a lot of people who are staying for 2 or 3 months. So like, Yeah, awesome, good for you. Like, average LTV is $80. That's not really a helpful KPI. And that's why, like, I find so many brands that, they're running meta ads and they're optimizing for this like $80 cost per conversion. And they're like, wait a minute, like our business is actually less profitable. And it's like, yeah, because like especially when you're running performance media, like this is sort of like a separate point. Like, performance media channels, like running meta ads, trying to get conversions, it's going to be easier to find light buyers and people who are going to try out your app and cancel it once, or buy the cheapest product that you sell in your e-commerce store, whatever. It's a lot easier to find those kinds of people than it is to find the needles in the haystack. So you're just going to get a ton of people on the left-hand side of the graph. And if you're only running this for a short period of time, you're not going to net out an $80 LTV. It's just like, this is just how the math works when you're running performance channels. So that's why, like, every brand that I talk to, like, I have this conversation literally every day where it's like, someone's like, oh, well, we were doing okay and we grew the business through the 2010s, and then COVID was great. We scaled, and our profits were through the roof, and we reinvested. And then ever since like 2022, 2023, we've like really struggled to grow. We've plateaued and started to decline. And like, it's because people don't understand that this is the customer demand curve that actually plays out in almost every single business. And so we're optimizing for average KPIs, and we're not being realistic about the fact that if we acquire light buyers, a handful of them will become heavy buyers over time. Like, think about, there are thousands of families that are going to take a trip to Disney World this year, and it's going to be, honestly, probably more than 1,000, but thousands of families that are going to take a pilgrimage to Disney World this year. The majority of those people are never going to go back. Some of those people are going to go back every year. Like, they're going to fall in love with it. And a smaller portion of those people are going to be like, oh my God, this is the greatest place ever. I want to become a Disney Vacation Club member, and I want to come here 2 to 3 or 4 times a year. Like, this is how marketing works. Keep finding new customers. Make sure that it's profitable for you to acquire those light buyers. Recognize that if you're only generating $30 LTV from the majority of your customers, that's realistically what you can afford from a CAC perspective. But then you'll get a handful of people who'll be the needles in the haystack that like really bring up your profitability over the long term. And that's the biggest insight, right? Like, another final example. Shopify has understood this the whole time, right? Like, the whole premise of Shopify's business model is that anyone can start an e-commerce store. Anyone. And it's true. Any idiot can start an e-commerce store. And so what does that mean? It means they're going to attract a lot of people with bad business ideas. So when someone opens an e-commerce store selling artisanal dog sweaters and then decide to shut it down in 4 months, is that Shopify's problem? No, because that person paid, I don't know, probably $70 to Shopify, and if they got any sales, they got a cut of that revenue, right? Shopify's happy to have that customer. It costs them almost nothing to have that additional customer. So that's great. They're happy to have that customer. So if Shopify has churn, it's not a Shopify problem. In fact, like, you could argue that like there's a healthy number of churn that Shopify should have, because that means that they're acquiring more customers. And then for every, N number of like really bad businesses that onboard onto Shopify and then call it quits after 6 months, there's an occasional Gymshark, with like a brand that comes out of nowhere and explodes and is generating millions of dollars in revenue for Shopify every year. And like, if Shopify didn't have their mission and their whole ethos centered around this idea of like, we're the platform that you come to start an e-commerce store, anyone can do it, they're not opening their doors up. Like, Gymshark would be on a different platform, right? Kylie Jenner's cosmetics company would be on a different platform. These are brands that make Shopify a lot of money. And so this is like, successful businesses have this mentality, right? Being able to open your doors to light buyers, not alienate those people, not just focus your marketing messaging on the handful of people that you really want to acquire as your like lifetime value. We're going to maximize the total profitability. Like, when you singularly do that, you find out that you make less profit every time.